tonight. We do begin with our team coverage, and we're going to start with News 4 investigative reporter Sarah Wallace, who's reporting from Spring Valley. Sarah.
Well, David, this is MedRight. It has 5 urgent care facilities around the state, and each of them is now doing antibody testing. They can do several hundred a day. All of the blood is sent to a reliable laboratory for analysis, but that's not always the case. And health professionals are increasingly concerned about the unreliability of those rapid blood tests.
First responders are the priority here at MedRight's Spring Valley Urgent Care Center as they ramp up their new antibody testing program. Blood is drawn and sent out to a lab. It's separate from the COVID swab test MedRight does outside at its drive-through center. This EMT came up from Teaneck.
In a sense, you hoping that you might test that you have?
Absolutely. If I have the antibodies, I'll feel a little better going out there on calls knowing that I have, something to my advantage.
There's no evidence currently that antibodies prove immunity. So this test right now is testing 2 things. Number 1 is it basically confirms you had the virus, and number 2, if your body's mounting a response to it.
MedRight's turnaround for the antibody lab results, about 3 days. The company says it decided not to use the rapid blood tests because they found them unreliable. And that's the concern of medical experts like MD1's Dr. Mark Merlin, the supervising physician of New Jersey's mobile COVID testing sites.
Much of the testing throughout the world has now become the Wild West. There's lots of organizations that are offering their test without any approval through the FDA, without any licensing of organizations. This is something that we need to stop. We need to test a lot of people, but we need accurate, rapid, point-of-care testing.
We learned today that 3,000 New Yorkers were randomly tested last week at box stores and grocery stores across the state. Preliminary results indicate nearly 14% of New Yorkers, or 2.7 million people, are positive.
These are people who were infected and who developed the antibodies to fight the infection.
The numbers look very different by region, with 21% positive in the city compared to 3.6% upstate.
What you do in a place with 21% is not the same thing necessarily that you would do in a place with 3.6%, because the facts should dictate the action.
The governor points out these numbers could influence reopening plans.
Back to the testing, you heard that term, the wild, wild west, so you really have to be very careful about what testing you're getting, where you're getting it, and whether or not it's FDA approved or FDA licensed. And the best advice for the moment, go on the FDA website. From Spring Valley, Sarah Wallace, News 4 New York.